Content warning. The Adventures in HellwQrld podcast talks in depth about QAnon, which means we have to talk about all kinds of child abuse and violence against people. Listener discretion advised.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Rains, a.k.a. Poker and Politics, and welcome to another episode of Adventures in HellwQrld. This week, I'm joined, as always, by Haley, a.k.a. Arizona Right Watch.
Hello, everybody. I survived the Trump rally and did not pass out from heat stroke, unlike dozens of others.
Tough break for them. I'm also joined by the mysterious L.
Hello, my beautiful babies. It's me, Mysterious Jack L. And I'm back, baby.
You are all made of stars.
Yeah, love hearing Kennedy's in the news.
Yes.
Pretty sure I heard somebody straight up tell me the other day that they would rather vote for Robert Kennedy than Biden because it's that time of year where the dumb fucking conservatives are suns out, guns out, or libertarians, I guess, at this point, whoever the fuck might vote for him. And I was like, you know he had a brainworm, right?
Literal brainworm.
Yeah, you know the worm that ate part of his brain didn't escape? It just died in there, and it's just like chilling.
Looming, waiting.
Anyway, yes, I'm back.
As a staunch Kennedy fan, do you have to do it out of priorities, or are you going to stick to your guns and vote Biden?
RFK Jr. is not a Kennedy. I mean, the entire Kennedy family has denounced that man as a piece of shit. So, no.
Let's all just vote for JFK again. We also like him.
Right in JFK. Screw it. I mean, living doesn't have to be a prerequisite to being president. I mean, he got an unfair shake there, being taken out of the presidency via murder in Dallas. That's a bunch of bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a two-party system, and it sucks. But
yeah,
let's not anybody get crazy and say they're going to throw away their vote for RFK. I mean, just like literally write in a funnier name than him.
Yeah.
Like if you're just going to throw it away, there's no way he could win. Like no data you could collect on the planet would ever say that he could win a victory. So just like, if you really just vote in if what's really got you chuffed is the Palestine thing, just write in Free Palestine or whatever. That's my vote.
Yeah.
My vote for president of the United States is a Free Palestine.
It wins. Somehow the entity of liberated Palestine is our president.
I believe you mean Hamas. No,
yes.
That'd be
Who
great.
would your ideal president be? It could be anybody, not politician. It could be celebrity. It could be fictional character. It could be made up in your head.
Who's my ideal president?
Yeah. Who's
Me.
the one you want to see most? You? Okay. You're okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like the one place where you don't really have to worry about who it is because it's you.
That's a good point.
And sure, you're supposed to do a lot of work, but I feel like a lot of these guys have shown that you can just kind of not do that if you don't want to. Like, how much did Trump possibly get done in his 4 years in office? Fucking nothing. He was
Oh my god! Right,
got rallies done.
Yeah, literally, like the 2 hours of work he would do a day as president was called executive time, and it was when they could coax him off the couch from watching Fox News to come in and chair a meeting where they'd literally have staffers using sock puppets being like, I'm the bad person who's doing a bad thing and I'm the good person who thinks we should do this, and then Trump would be like, this is boring, I don't understand it, and then she'd be like, god damn it, oh god, this moron, oh man.
And I would make so many unpopular decisions, and I would have so many unpopular opinions, but I would give Republicans what they want. I would just give it to them straight. I'd just be like, hey, here's my opinion on the matter as your president, and here's what I want to do. But, thanks to the way our country is structured, I need people to sign off on that. Isn't that great? So if you really hate what I'm doing, just make sure to tell the other people that they vote me down, make your voices heard or whatever. But until then, I feel like we should probably deal with North Korea. We've been letting that one slide for a long time. Now seems like a great time to nip that one in the bud. It's but Russia, they can't even fight Ukraine. Let's just go... Oh, we're suddenly taking over a place? Well, we decided that North Korea is the place we're taking over. How do you like that?
Yeah. Elle, have you been following the Young Thug trial? Because I have now fallen into the spider web of trial insanity, and it is
only in passing. It's funny because there's another lower profile trial going on where it was one rapper influencer lady went to another's trial for she had a warrant out for arrest. Just got arrested on the spot. That was pretty funny. Yeah, I've heard some stuff about the Young Thug trial. You know, people committing to like people admitting to fucking murders that they did on the stand and stuff. Like, apparently, it's been pretty wild. I guess the judge is really out of line. I haven't really looked into it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like basically, at my work, literally, it's all Karen Reed all the time. And for those of you who are not in Massachusetts, Karen Reed is this like criminal trial where the state is accusing her of killing her husband, and it appears there's a massive conspiracy to like pin it on her. Her husband,
which is
a cop,
because she backed over him with the snowblower or a snowplow or whatever, and then the snowplow detached itself, grew arms, and like physically beat the guy to death, and the bam, 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 skull fracture, just like punching, boom, boom. And then went back to being a regular plow. And she was like, what the hell? And they were like, boo, you killed him. I know it looks like a bunch of cops did a bunch of coke and beat him up, but it was you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this case is so ridiculous. And basically, falling down the Karen Reed rabbit hole got me into the Young Thug rabbit hole, where apparently, like yesterday, basically the judge and the prosecution just did a crime. And basically told this witness, witness, you say that Young Thug killed this guy, and we're all going to be cool. And then when Young Thug's lawyer heard about this, he's like, I wasn't invited to this meeting. It's illegal for you to have a meeting without me being there. And the judge was like, who told you about the meeting? He's like, I don't have to tell you that. That's ridiculous. The judge was like, throw that man in jail until he tells me who told him about the illegal meeting that I was the chair of. And so, yeah. It is just rampant criminality in the legal system.
I mean, I'm just going to say, like, comedy podcast. Everything we're saying is jokes. But I also still don't want to say too much. Let's just say, like, if the revolution is going to come, I feel like at this point we have a pretty good starting target, like, for a hypothetical French-style revolution. Like, when the guillotines are coming out and stuff, like, some of these people are just getting brazen with their corruption. They're just like, you fucking appointed me, and what are you going to do about it? Who judges the judge?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, like literally, I was down the rabbit hole like this morning. I was just reading all these lawyers who are just like, this judge is tripling down. This is insane. Like the state of Georgia has to figure out what's going on here, because the amount of wrongness that's going on here is unbelievable. This is like just open corruption, just outright open corruption. And
which is right crazy here, too, because it's not like a it's not like a case no one's paying attention to, and it's not like a case that's like, it's not like a Wall Street case or whatever where they just need to get somebody under the bus because there's like $1 billion worth of fucking venture capital assets involved or whatever. It's some dumb rap thing. Like, what's going on? It's like about a dumb rapper. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, like why was the state of Georgia so horny to throw Young Thug in jail that they have to concoct this bullshit? Like, what is going on here?
Are they just really angry that the people in Atlanta hate Copland, and they're just like, we're going to take it out on Young Thug because he's available in the system? I don't know, man. Shit is wild, but like judges are getting crazy.
Yeah. But it was really interesting that I was following this Karen Reed stuff, and like it's getting my hackles up. My blood's starting to like boil. And then the Young Thug stuff was like, let's just turn that up a notch for you there, son. If you thought Massachusetts corruption was bad, wait till you see Georgia. And I'm like,
which is crazy. I believe I mentioned this on the podcast, but like, as angry as you are reading that stuff, that is how I felt watching Anatomy of the Fall. Like, watching what is allegedly a depiction of the French judicial system, it was top to bottom that. I was just like, how are they getting away with any of this? I was like, how does this legal system function? What's going on with France? When was that time you heard something good about it? Hey, France, fucking get your shit together, bud. Like, you've been a pretty major country for a long time now. Get your fucking shit together, bud.
Yeah, it's making me worry about that British trial where that lady was convicted of killing 7 babies in a hospital, and their evidence was basically she was in the building when those babies died, so she did it. And it's just like, at least that's the article I read. I've heard other people say, "Oh no, they had a lot more evidence than that," and I was like, "Oh, I would love that he presented to me then."
Also, I watch a YouTuber named Lazy Masquerade. Shout out to that dude. He does like Japanese crew tribe stuff, and man, it turns out that Japanese crew tribe detectives are just as, if not more, bumbling than the stuff you hear when you hear like bumbling American detectives. It seems like every detective in Japan that's involved in one of those cases is one of these like small town bumpkin detectives, even when they're not. They just behave that way. They'll show up and they'll just be like, "This crime scene is disgusting. Clean it up."
Get all this blood and other bodily fluids off this floor immediately. But sir, no, clean it now. Clean.
Boss, we found this bloody knife. It's like, knives are dangerous. Throw that away immediately. We have no intention of hearing about this. Okay, because there's no other place I could possibly think of to squeeze it into the podcast without having to do through a bunch of hoops. I am going to mention briefly. Did you hear that like Lakota tribe prophecy just came true? Like, it's time to see, dude. Like, a prophecy has come true. It's time to see if it starts kicking off.
You're on different parts of the internet than me. You're going to have to explain.
So I think it's the Lakota tribe. I apologize to all Native people if I'm wrong about that, and this is making me racist. But a white buffalo calf was born, and it's like pure white. It's not an albino. It's just a white furred buffalo with a black nose, black eyes, and black hooves, which is like the textbook like depiction of this calf from the prophecy. Now, to be fair, I think another calf of like similar nature showed up in 1994. But according to prophecy, it means the good times are ahead, baby. It means good times are ahead, but you gotta get good with nature, you know? Like, hey, things are gonna get better, but you gotta get good with nature. So shout out to any of the people who are part of that prophecy that got fulfilled, because I mean, fucking, how often do prophecies get fulfilled these days? That sounds awesome. What a rush. Can you imagine the dopamine?
There's pictures on NBC News of the little calf.
He's adorable.
He's so cute.
Yeah, he's incredibly adorable. They grow up to be majestic but horrible. Like, they just, like, when they're like up close, they just sort of smell and look bad, like all musky fur animals. But from the right distance, they're majestic as fuck. And his babies, they're mad cute. So shout out to you, little baby. I mean, like, I think like the highest like spiritual leader for the local like peoples was just like, oh yeah, this would be like if Jesus Christ was born. Like, this is a big deal to us. And it's just like, oh shit, really? Like, that's crazy. Good for you guys. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I looked it up. It is the Lakota tribe. So yeah, that is. And I'm looking at the adorable white calf buffalo. So this is that is wild. That is absolutely wild. That literally the prophecy was foretold and fulfilled.
It says there was a similar white buffalo born in Wisconsin in 1994, and they named him Miracle.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Although I didn't forget the name. The name Miracle is hilarious.
Yes.
So, you know, and we all remember how awesome 1994 was. The good times.
It was.
Yeah.
That's around when I was alive, technically, but...
Dude, I mean, compared to now, fucking 94 to like 2004 were the salad days, bro. Like, compared to now, that's where all my nostalgia is, pretty much. I'm just like, yeah, dude, rose-tinted glasses all the way for that decade. Mad good.
Yeah.
nothing bad happened between 94 and 2004. Nothing at all.
No, nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. Nothing bad ever happened to the Kennedys. That's
Aaron. Okay. So I'm glad I got to squeeze that in, but it's time to get down to business to defeat the Huns, and that means it's time for the amuse-bouche.
It's time for a light sampling of insanity. Get ready for the amuse-bouche.
Yo, do y'all think Caitlin Clark has a dick? I don't, nor do I care. But conservatives, of course, do care very much, speculating about any woman of power, stature, acumen, ability, and hell, probably just half of regular women that they see. Everything's a dick, you know? And again, I've said it before, everything's a nail to a hammer. Like, the Tootsie Roll commercial made it pretty clear that if you're looking around and all you see is Tootsie Rolls, it's because you want Tootsie Rolls in your mouth. That was the whole point of that commercial. So, anyway, yeah, of course, Caitlin Clark dared to be successful, so she's going to get this sort of rage and stupid horseshit.
Caitlin Clark is so interesting.
Everything about it is horrible. I hate it. And anything I read about her that's not just like Caitlin Clark, incredible at her sport. It's just like shut the fuck up. Like, who cares? Like, and you know. Yeah, anyway, this is where I toss it over to Mike so we can find out exactly how horrible the conservative goons are going to be at our current reigning WNBA God Queen, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. So this phase one started out with the whole fact that because the WNBA features mostly black players and Caitlin Clark is white, that Caitlin Clark getting a rough deal because she's a rookie coming of all this hype and now all these other players looking to knock her down a peg or two was classic racism, and this is proof that like black people are awful and bad and blah blah blah. And we had to have this whole go around the merry-go-round about that shit. And these people turning Caitlin Clark into some sort of white warrior that was fighting to like save our glorious race and all that nonsense.
Yeah,
but
Turning Point USA literally said that the women on the ghetto women on the WNBA should be grateful that Caitlin Clark is bringing them so much viewers, and they shouldn't bite the hand that feeds them.
Okay, again, they're close to having a point. I mean, I've seen some of the hits that Caitlin's been taking, like on the court and stuff, and like, I mean, it looks pretty sketchy and dirty. But fucking, the race has nothing to do with it.
No, they're pulling full blown race baiting on this, as in.
Of course they would, because they they're just too racist and stupid, and or conditioned by sports movies to realize that in the real world, sometimes your heroic athlete trains their hardest for her whole life and finally makes it to the big show. And then a superstar comes out of nowhere, and nobody cares about that person despite all of their best efforts because the superstar has arrived. It sucks, but it happens, especially in sports. It's the whole point of sports. Like, name like the seventh guy on the bench during like any Bulls season when Jordan was on it. You know, like you don't fucking know those guys. You don't care about those guys.
No. Yeah, and the thing about this is that they were doing the race baiting bullshit to start, and then some of the audience decided, we got to crank this up to 11. Like the angle of Caitlin Clark, the white hero fighting the black WNBA and all that bullshit, that ain't spicy enough. So then I started seeing people posting on TikTok and stuff. They were like, look, we said we wanted a star. We wanted someone big in WNBA to grow the league, but we didn't want a man. And Caitlin Clark is a dude, and this is unacceptable. And my favorite part about all of that is that, yeah, Caitlin Clark's 6 foot tall, which is tall for a woman, but it's not WNBA tall. She is tiny for a professional basketball player. So the idea that some 6 foot tall dude like somehow sneakily transitioned before college or whatever, and then did this to get into the WNBA, and it's like, well, you're still facing 6'6" cis women. So congratulations, like you don't actually have a physical advantage over these people.
I want to know what these like scared of any like sort of like quote unquote masculine traits or whatever conservative dudes think that the best WNBA player's body should look like. I want to know like what is it? Is it just Margot Robbie but stretched like in Photoshop? Is it just Gal Gadot, but she's exactly 7 foot tall? Aside from that, like everything's the same. She's just a giantess, and she's just like, when I'm not busy practicing 14 hours a day to maintain being the best, it's all beauty regimen, baby. Like, what the fuck do you guys think? Like, dude, yeah, they're gonna look like fucking athletes because they're fucking athletes. I don't get it. I mean, I've never gotten it though. I mean, these people are so dumb. Yeah. Who cares? First of all, no. As far as we know, not trans. Second of all, who cares? And especially because it's Pride Month, let me throw out, who double cares because trans women are beautiful. And they are women. And fuck yourselves. Fucking bigots. Sorry. It's making me angry.
Yeah, in Arizona, we have Brittany Griner discourse because she is an icon here and, like, just a big topic of conversation and in the news. And also she's the subject of, like, a lot of LGBTQ harassment. Like both physically, people will show up to try to, like do shit at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, which is where they hold the games. And then also just in general, she's the subject of a lot of like anti-trans. She gets Michelle Obama pretty heavily here. And because she made the Olympic team and Caitlin Clark did not, there's been a lot of, again, like the just race baiting and like, So,
to be fair, everyone has always cared really passionately about the women's Olympic basketball team. It's something that Americans have always really been about. We're very passionate about it. We always have been. We're just like, hey,
to wedge in like fascist ideology because like they did this with the like Riley Gaines type of like like they're going after women's sports kind of thing, and it was a means to attack trans women. And a lot of the discourse around Caitlin Clark is a means to attack Black women and also trans Black women or just queer people in general. So yeah, that they like the far right does not care about women's sports only as a way to like carry this horrible conversation. They don't actually watch it.
Oh, my favorite thing was one guy that I saw pissing and moaning about this shit was like, look, I'm not a fan of the WNBA, but, and then got into this whole Caitlin Clark thing. And it's like, bro, you're watching the fucking games. You don't claim you're like staying away from it when you're engaging on it. It's ridiculous. It's like, but what Haley said is like, they hate women's sports already. So like, this is just, even if Caitlin Clark won, even if like she just dominated and the WNBA became big, they'd still be mad because now the evil woke women's sport won. And they'd be like, no, now people are watching women play sports. Boo, no. It's like so, it's a lose proposition for them on every level. It's awesome.
Yeah, being a woman sounds super awesome. I'm glad that I don't have to deal with it. Sorry, Haley. That's a rough beat.
Cool.
But shout out to us and our male privilege, Mike, bro fisting through the computer.
Wait! Yeah!
I can't think of a better way to transition out of this than a bro fist for celebrating our male privilege. So let's talk about Bannon, who's going to jail. Mike, talk to us about jail time for Bannon. This is like an all upside story. It's hard to imagine this one going south. The last one was all about fascism and racism.
Yeah, no, this is just good times. Steve Bannon finally had his appeal to not go to jail struck down, and the court has ordered him to report to jail on July 1st. So on July 1st, Steve Bannon will begin serving his 4-month sentence for contempt of Congress. And what's really awesome about this is that QAnon and other right-wingers are pissing and moaning about how we're going to lose Bannon in the stretch run of the campaign, and this is horse shit. This is how the Illuminati planned all this shit. And it's like, no. He was the one who stretched this out for like 2 years, appealing and fighting and refusing to go to jail. Peter Navarro got convicted for the same thing and is like years after Bannon did, and is already in jail serving his time. He's like, fuck it, they got me. I'll do my 4 months. I'll be in and out, whatever. What are you going to do? Bannon was the one who dragged this out, so it now coincides perfectly with like the 2024 presidential campaign culminating while he'll be in Club Fed. So excellent timing, Steve. Well,
it's all part of the storm wave. It's happening.
Exactly.
Here it comes. It's crashing down this November. Here we go.
Yeah.
We'll get into more of that down the line. But
yeah. And the other good news, the other good news is that Bannon's facing another trial for big boy prison time starting this September. So he may never actually be out of prison during this whole run. He may just be fucked permanently.
He can't live long, right? He can't live too old. He can't Henry Kissinger us all. Like
no, Steve Bannon's in rough shape.
Yeah, just look at the man. Yeah. Looking the way he does, you might think that he was running for president of the United States of America.
Yes, literally.
Absolutely insane stuff.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, we have to move on from Bannon from our triumphant, sand people style triumphant double fist raise of the hands and making a noise. To move on to a Bush item that is not very happy indeed, which is the infallible racist abundant pipeline, the special political track only available to conventionally attractive white women, which has been leveraged. The power of which has been leveraged. And for more on this, I'm going to throw it to Haley.
Me?
Yeah, Mike specifically instructed me to throw to you to talk about jawline racism and how it leads to conservative bank notes.
Yeah, so I guess what we're going to be talking about is the final boss of like racist trad wife TikTokers. Her name's like Lily Gaddis. Have you seen this woman, Elle? Because you actually peruse the TikTok world, and it was the woman
I only saw her because of this, and then like I've seen some of her like I guess older clips that are resurfacing because of this or whatever. But
yeah, for listeners who don't know, she went viral on the timeline because somebody like posted to Twitter. It was like one of those, like end wokeness type of big accounts posted her video talking about how a bunch of fucking dorks have taken over the country, like Mark Zuckerberg and Fauci and all the
which is great. Yeah, because I in her course about complaining about this, she admits that all the people that she hated in high school are just doing better than her, and all the people that she liked. She's just like, hey, we're all fucking losers that we hated in high school because they were fucking dorks and dweebs doing their stupid gay plays and stuff. Well, now those people like take control. They control everything, man. And like, it's real tough. And like, those fucking dweebs are now like our bosses and stuff. It's like,
but yeah. So she was like, that video kind of went viral. Alex Jones even quote tweeted that video and was like, "I think I'm in love." And then
yeah, what's your dowry going to be? Fucking nothing but ash in your mouth, you loser. Enjoy tasting it. I mean, never enjoy that one going down your throat, you bitch.
But yeah, so then like she responded to the backlash she was getting, and she dropped the N-word in that response video, and that catapulted her into the more my world of the internet, which is just full on Nazis. They were like, new queen. So she was immediately invited on InfoWars and did an interview. I think one of the people that previously worked for Stu Peters, who's just fully doing Holocaust denial Nazi shit at this point, one of his like former workers, I think, poached her, and she's going to work for one of them. She did a Twitter Spaces with like quite a few of the bigger names in the like Alex Jones, Stu Peters, Lucas Gage, white supremacist sphere, because that's just Twitter now. And like they have two conspiracies about her. It's like when a woman would post herself on 4chan and just subject herself to ridicule. She's currently in that phase. So I
was on 4chan for some of that. That shit was crazy.
Yes. Yes, it was. It was always interesting to observe that. And so she's currently getting in. She was in her Twitter Spaces. She was debating that she is actually not Jewish because some of the more hard-lined Nazis did not find her nose to be acceptable, and they were baking that she has had a nose job and is hiding that she's Jewish and is actually a Jewish op. So she was proving that she was not Jewish and just answering questions.
Imagine the mindset of these guys. They finally have one on the hook. A conventionally attractive woman going out of her way to position herself to be their new goddess. Like, that's what she wanted the whole time, which I'll circle back to in a minute. And then they're just like, okay, cool. Here it is. We finally got one. And then they're just like, well, actually, she might secretly be Jewish. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, how non-Jewish does somebody have to be? Like, I mean, exactly, where's the bar for, like, conventional attractiveness, willing to say they hate Jews and blacks, and, like, definitively not looking in any way like a Jewish person? Like, is it a 10 only? Is there 10s only for the Nazis? We're very particular.
Swastika armband, or else.
Yeah. I just loved when she was doing her rant about the dweebs and the nerds, and she's like, these people who didn't get laid in high school. And it's like, lady, your audience is literally people who brand themselves as incels, who brand themselves as sex is bad and I won't have any.
Also, for the record, that lady, if you're listening, the theater kids in your high school were likely fucking way, way more than you. Like,
they were fucking a
to
lot.
a magnitude that you could not imagine. Like, during school hours, while people were in classes, like, getting blowjobs in practice rooms nonstop all the time. Like, that was the experience.
They get access to special rooms in the school, and they're just.
In our school, they had like a whole fucking wing dedicated to it. They had the best water fountain, the best bathrooms, like private rehearsal spaces, like a row of hallway that was just obviously for sex. It was just like, oh, couches and private rooms that you could lock, and like you tint the windows, and
nobody goes there because it's like only the theater kids have access, and within the theater kid realm, only like 2 people have access, and they're fucking.
Yeah, for us, that whole stuff was banned. I was part of the theater kids, and we were close enough to the band where they would like I could venture into their territory to use their bathroom or their water fountain, but like I knew that I shouldn't linger because there was stuff going on that I wasn't a part of.
I was in something called stage production, which is you built the sets.
Yeah, theater tech.
Yeah.
Yeah. You people usually graduate to Rocky Horror Picture Show midnight events and anime convention organizations. I know, because I was friends with a lot of theater tech kids because I was an actor.
So one more thing on this Lily person, because she's again she's going through the beatings of being a woman on the internet. They're asking her like, yeah, what's your body count? But also Lucas Gage, who is a neo-Nazi, who's popular on Twitter, unfortunately, he is offended that he doesn't like that she's a poser because she said she dropped the N-word without saying the ER. She used the A. And he's basically calling her a poser and thinks that the real ones should be dropping the ER. So that's the discourse right now around this, and I just
which is crazy because it's like it's obvious like yeah, she's on the fringe of being part of that life and she's looking for somebody to pay her. And now that somebody's willing to do that, she'll probably dance to your tune, whatever that tune is. And that's what I need to take a moment to scold all the liberals who were on TikTok, being like, stop signal boosting this. Oh, you're just going to get her a job. Like when she got fired from her position as like a real estate, whatever, something. People were just like, oh, this isn't a job. She's just going to get a job working for like Newsmax or something. And it's just like, if you look at any of her content before her stuff started to go viral and like up to the stuff that got her over, it was clear that she was positioning herself as this. She already had a follower base. If you just start letting her do rants on TikTok where she's saying the N-word, she's not going to not be popular with Nazis. She's just not going to be like popular with Nazis in a way that surfaces to regular people. This way, she just sort of like skipped having to like build a base of people by just like talking about how she's not a fan of black dudes or, you know, nerds in high school or whatever until somebody notices her. She just like got straight to the Newsmax part, which will hopefully prevent her from getting too crazy with it. But she was obviously dancing for this kind of attention. Like this is what she wanted. So like I don't think us calling her out and like, you know, trying to get repercussions in her daily life for being a bigot was a bad idea. You can't just let it slide. You can't just let it slide because it might be good for them. That's fucking crazy talk. You got to call them out every time. Every time, dude.
I think she's like embracing her role kind of as like a Pearl figure who did that, like, why don't we talk about the Jews song, which was just, it was explicitly just like a anti-Semitic Nazi song. And Lily seems to be doing like explicit anti-black racism because she tweeted, "Thanks, Black community, for helping to launch my new career in conservative media. You all played your role well, like the puppets you are." Heart emoji. So she's like a demon, but
yeah, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah,
if she wasn't horrible, I would respect the hustle, you know, because it was obvious what she was going for, and she got exactly that. But
I think too many people think they can make a career off of this, and a lot of them realize that, like, oh, there's actually not that much money in this, because there's a guy here that kind of tries to do this shit, like just really, you know, explicit viral stuff, and like it mostly just ruins his life.
You're putting yourself in a real quick shelf life doing shit like this, where you make yourself so toxic to like regular people, and now your only audience is right-wing grifters and right-wing media. When you're a conventionally attractive woman, you just have a time frame where that lasts. But in like 10 years, like the new hotness is going to come in and take your spot. Because
I mean, by that point, she'll be married to one of these goons that can just take care of her. Like that is, I mean, that's what trad wife is. She's just like she's gonna make her bag and make a name for herself until she can like land herself a husband, and then she'll just be wealthy off of the teat of some like multimillionaire who's just like, I don't like the border. All the better if he's like 69 when they like get together. Not only because it's a nice age, but also it's just like she's like, yeah, he could die at any moment now. It's pretty nice. It'd be great. Gold diggery, the modern form of gold diggery. She's like the T1000. These Republicans, because like now it's like the terminus is getting like a rich sugar daddy, but in between that, you just get to be a horrible pundit or horrible mouthpiece for bigotry and make a bunch of money that way too. It sucks. It's the worst. Yeah. It used to be you were like a model or something or an actress, and then you did that. Yeah. Also, for the record, there shouldn't be a thing that people need to do. Like, why are women the only people that age out of being able to do their stuff? I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna stick with Haley because now it is finally the time, the time of every week that everybody loves the most, where we talk about everyone's favorite state, the state of Arizona. Suck it, Florida. We've got a new favorite state because nobody from Florida is on the show. Hi, Haley.
Hello.
How's Arizona?
It's okay.
Okay, thanks. Good talk. It's time for Q's in the news.
Trump was just here. He was here last week. The day
I heard it was hot.
Oh, buddy, was it? They predicted that it was going to be 111 high, and it ended up, which was already breaking a record. And it ended up being 113 degree high.
That's crazy. How did the hundreds of thousands of people that showed up to attend Trump's rally take this?
Well, it was actually pretty packed.
Is that including all the people that got caught leaving as soon as their hour was done because they were paid on the local?
The people that were leaving was because I was at this, unfortunately. It was balls hot. And this was held at Dream City Church, which people might know here in Arizona is a Turning Point affiliated church. It's incredibly linked to the AZGOP here. They hold events there. They host Turning Point events. Charlie Kirk has a faith night there where he basically is the pastor for the night. So it sucks. They recently had a pretty big scandal where one of the teachers at their academy, which is also Turning Point linked, was caught abusing a student there. He was, yeah. So, and then they're also dipping into the voucher program, which is a big scandal also. But anyway, Trump was at that. It was actually fucking packed, and there was a ton of medical emergencies outside because the Turning Point, the Dream City campus doesn't have that much coverage. Most people had to wait outside until doors opened, and there's only one Ramada basically covering it, and then everybody else was kind of zigzagged on the green, and they didn't provide any coverage. And in Arizona, you can only last 15 minutes in that before it starts to get a little dangerous. So people were dropping. The second I arrived, I heard ambulances, and I saw them flying by. One almost hit this vendor that was selling Trump shit. He had this huge Trump flag, and there was just a commotion right when I got in with a guy that was holding a sign that was basically calling the Trump people stupid imbeciles or something, and he had a Trump dummy, and then the guy with the cart selling the merch, and then ambulances trying to get in. And yeah, I heard that 11 were hospitalized due to heat related illness, and then about 50 were treated. So it was a bit of a day. I didn't stick around for long, but the point of this rally was Turning Point USA is now basically doing this ballot chasing initiative called Chase the Vote, and this was the launch kind of rally for that / the first Trump event of the season, because it was the first event also after his indictment. There were a lot of people there that were just the usual Trump boomers all having a heat emergency in their red, white, and blue outfits. I did see I don't know what the lib conspiracies are on Twitter, but yeah, it was packed. It's not a huge venue. It's 3,000 people at most. There were some empty seats up in the top rafters, but they would have filled them no matter what, because the overflow in the outside was pretty huge. And like, yeah, a lot of people did have to go home, which was hilarious because they just like waited. The way that it worked was like Turning Point USA. They do this for every rally. The Turning Point Action, they just sell endless tickets. Like it'll never say sold out. So basically, and then when you go up, they don't ask for your fucking ticket. They just let you in. So a bunch of people who sign up for a ticket didn't get let in, and they're like, what the fuck? I signed up for a ticket. But it's just like, they just wave everyone in. You just have to go through the scanner to make sure you're not like carrying weapons or anything. So yeah, it was actually fucking packed. And let's see, what was the speaker's main point? It was literally just like ballot chasing shit, which is basically just like go around your neighborhood and convince independents and like people who are like Republicans who don't vote, and like kind of get them to vote this next election. Kind of encouraging mail-in, which I find to be funny for how much they've discouraged it in the past. It's just basically use any means to vote, which is just like, yeah, that's how it works. You were the guys that discouraged us last time around. So anyway, that was the event. It sucked. There wasn't a lot of merch booths. There was like 30 booths for this Chase the Vote shit. So yeah, the merch booths were not aplenty. I did not even find a cool, funny shirt post sentencing. So that sucks. So F Trump rally. It was hot. Didn't find a shirt. It sucked. And then I know. I know you mentioned the Carrie Lake thing. We kind of talked about like most of it last week with the her giving a speech in front of a Confederate flag at the Trump store, which is owned by Steve Slanton, who is currently in some hot water because he's also running for a seat. And he's claiming that he was a combat pilot in Vietnam, which he was not. He's been like putting on like the medals and like wearing the uniform, and he falsified records to give to a radio station to be like, no, I was in the military and I served in Nam Look. And that was all fake. It's all fake. It's all bullshit. And that's the guy that owns the Trump store here, which is so funny.
I love it. I love fake valor guy owns the Trump store. Could not be a more on brand decision by that guy.
I mean, their biggest rock star is Ted Nugent, right? Same thing.
Yes.
He's like, I can't go to Vietnam. I'm disabled or whatever. And then as soon as Boo did musically, he's just like, I love the troops. Can't get enough of them troops. But I don't want to be one.
No. Oh God, no.
I can get all my John Wayne Trump merch at the Trump store by the Stolen Valor guy, you know?
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
But yeah, I think there's like been a few protests actually outside the Trump store because like, you know, obviously he's running, so there's like just political protests, but I think actual like veterans have been protesting because like that's kind of like a pretty offensive thing, I guess.
Yeah, Stolen Valor is something they fucking care about a lot.
Yeah, except that conservatives no longer care about what people in the military care about. So that they're just like, boo, how dare you protest in front of Trump store? We love Trump. They're just like, but it's Stolen Valor. And they're just like, we don't care. Remember, we prefer our fucking war heroes uncaptured and stuff these days. You know, remember when Trump refused to go to that cemetery because it was raining out? He was like,
he was going to tussle his golden hair, his flowing locks.
Yeah. You know, people love Trump and hate the troops, which is funny because I'm sure a lot of people in the service love Trump for reasons that can only be attributed to racism or sexism or both.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anything else. You know, you got nothing else for me. It's quickly becoming clear he's not even as rich as we think he is. He had to get a loan to pay his $500 million debt. That's not what billionaires have to do. Billionaires should just be like $490 million. Pshaw. Exactly. I'll sell one of my oil fields, I guess. That's what a Saudi prince would do. Now, those people have real money. Anyway, I can get back to talking about how awesome Saudi Arabia is once we get to Q's in the news.
From the digital headlines to the digital front lines, it's Q's in the news.
I love how they bought golf. That was such a power move. It made them look really strong.
I saw the controversy with Joey Chestnut apparently not being in the July 4th hot dog eating contest.
Yeah,
and I was just like, did the Saudis buy competitive eating? Is Joey Chestnut on the live?
Weirdly enough, did you see who it might actually be? Who the contract Joey Chestnut might be with now? I believe it came out. Great assault, etc. It's the internet. Anybody can say anything. But I believe it came out that it was like Impossible Foods or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah,
I've been following this. I don't know. Don't ask me why. I've been reading there was a New York Times article that the guy must be on the competitive food eating beat because his like little bio said like whatever the fuck his name was, like braved the elements at the 2016 competitive food eating contest where a spectator was struck by lightning and like the game went on, and I was like, oh, this guy's like covers the beat. And like, yeah, he Joey Chestnut was basically like, I'll continue doing the July 4th competitive food eating contest, but you have to let me stream through this like other network basically. And you also have to let me have the new brand with Impossible Foods. And the guy who runs the competition was like, well, I don't mind if you like stream it through another network because you won't see any of the brands, but I will not stand for a rival competitor to, like have an endorsement. So
yeah, this isn't like the Super Bowl. It's Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs hot dog eating competition. Like it's always been a promotional thing. I don't know. To me, this has always, as soon as I heard about it, and we'll continue to smack of this Joey Chestnut guy getting too big for his goddamn britches. Like, this is him biting the hand that feed him. Nobody gives a fuck about you outside of this one thing you do. And the place where you do it is the Nathan edition. Like, I don't know. It's Massey's pretty simple to be, bud. Like, don't fuck with that. Don't try to upturn the apple cart, Like, yeah. If you're trying to work out a deal, why isn't he already under contract with Nathan's? Does Nathan's not have Joey Chestnut money?
Yeah. I love the idea of Joey Chestnut being so big time that he's like, look, Nathan's, you got to.
Because again, I'm not going to pretend like I would give a fuck about that competition if it wasn't for him and who was the other guy? Kobayashi. I didn't want to be racist. Because that's also the beginning part of Kobayashi Maru, which is a Star Trek thing. So I was just like, is it Kobayashi? Is that racist? Dude, my white guilt is get out of control.
I have to read this because I screenshotted it from the article on this because it made me laugh out loud. But it was about the host being upset that him and Joey couldn't come to a deal. And it says, Major League Eating hosts a number of eating events around the country, but the 4th of July contest is its most popular. Mr. Shea said that without Mr. Chestnut, it would be a sad day, and that introducing him to the crowd each year was one of the singular joys of my life.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate. It's like, again, why weren't you already paying him to be like a brand ambassador for your, like, why wasn't there already a contract involved? That seems like either Nathan's is really struggling or somebody's like fumbling this bag real bad. I mean, his fucking name is Joey Chestnuts. How much could he really be worth? He does this one thing, and while it is more of a sport than esports, for sure, it's still barely a sport, And it's only a sport if you don't think that you need sports to have defense, which is an argument I've always had. Anyway, I'm getting down the rabbit hole. Anyway, what a stupid thing all around. Nathan's pay the man. Buy the contract out from underneath him and just have him return to your stupid thing. Everybody, like, why is anybody losing here? Like, hot dog enthusiasts, make your voices heard. If you care about this thing, tell them to get their heads out of their asses and just contract Joey Chestnuts for like a few $100,000 a year or whatever he's worth. Here you go. Here it is, buddy. You travel the country and eat hot dogs fast, and there are hot dogs because you like them the best.
Exactly.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Also, talking about this reminds me, we have a friend. I believe this is the show, but I'm not sure if he'd like to be named. But we have a friend who's potentially also a friend of the podcast who, he's always vexed by, there's a YouTube gentleman named Summoning Salt who makes very good videos regarding the speed running community. And they're very engaging videos, and we all love them very much. But this particular friend always hates how, like, frequently there's like one or two guys that Summoning Salt has to talk about that are great at this game that have ridiculous names. And one of them was Jimmy Poopins. So we always talk about how funny it was whenever something like that comes up. It's somebody with a dumb name like Joey Chestnuts. They're just like, oh, he's Jimmy Poopins. That's a joke just for me. Anyway, so now I think we're finally into, we got distracted talking about hot dog eating at the top of our news segment, right? Because it's obviously big news. Speaking of wieners akimbo, Hunter Biden trial. Boom, boom. Look at that segue. Although the trial was for like guns or whatever, but I'm sure that Marjorie Taylor Greene used it to bust out some more of her nude photos of Hunter Biden, which I'm sure she's got a lot of, because she hates him. Because we all collect nude photos of our enemies, so we can show them in public like a creep.
Yeah. So,
anyway, Mike, talk to me about the president's son. I hear he got convicted, which is just as, if not more important, as the former president of the United States getting convicted for 34 felonies, 38.
All of these things are accurate. Yeah.
Some 30x of felonies.
Yeah. So our boy Hunter Biden was convicted of basically lying on records when he tried to purchase a gun back when he was on drugs. And the big part about this whole thing is that there's a lot of controversy about how the case was run, if it's going to hold up on appeal. The fact that there is actually a Supreme Court case that's going to be like a verdict's going to come down from the Supreme Court soon that might invalidate some of the charges Hunter Biden faced, which is going to be hilarious when the lib Supreme Court decides to coddle Hunter Biden and save his ass, which is going to be just wonderful listening to people scream and yell about it. But on top of all of that, QAnon is the land of people who cannot take a dub. Dubs are something they are allergic to. The reaction from right-wing community in general was, well, they actually convicted him. This is a bunch of horse shit. They just did this to make it look like it was right what they did when they railroaded Trump. And other people are talking about how they haven't even gotten into the laptop yet. There are so many crimes on the laptop. Oh, why are they going after Hunter's real crimes? Because they just can't a win. They just can't take a win. There's the possibility of a win that could be presented to them, and they're just like, no. They just smack it away, like when you try to feed a baby and the baby just like smacks the spoon away, like, no, I don't want it. And that's how they're operating in this situation. The only joy that I've seen from QAnon is there was an ancient Q drop, which happened to be a 6-year delta for these morons. And this Q drop is called the gun drop because it's posted in such a way that if you inverted it and flipped it around, the text might kind of look like a gun. And they were like, "Oh, look! 6 years after Q posted the gun Q drop, Hunter Biden convicted on gun charges. The prophecy, much like a white calf, fulfilled." And it's like, no, you're just really reaching. You're desperate. It's very sad. And I actually saw someone post right on schedule. 6 years, Hunter Biden, right on schedule.
Well, Q prophecy or not, as liberals, it's time for us to rise up and become furious over this. Right. Because this person has been convicted of crimes that they clearly didn't do, because that would be crazy. Why aren't you guys angrier about this? You're liberals! Damn it! And one of ours is getting convicted! We're supposed to rise up and be furious about this. It's the president's son, for God's sakes.
Behold our tepid indifference. Yeah.
I think even Patton Oswalt tweeted something where he was just like, yeah, the break headline, Democrat accused of crimes that he was obviously guilty of, liberals doing nothing. And it's just like, yeah, exactly. Like, that's not how we play ball. We're not emotionally connected to our guys like that, you know? It's sort of weird how our side seems more inclined to think that no one is above the law. But I guess the other side would just conject that is because our side has rigged everything and we're just keeping them down. Which is why the Supreme Court is packed in their favor, by the way, because we're keeping them down. Right. And that's why abortion is a thing that we're still confused about whether or not people should have access to.
You couldn't pay to love a politician. There's just no.
Oh, we'll get further into that with our second news item, because our second news item for this week is actually really funny and worrying and funny. But for the moment, we're talking about how furious we are about Hunter Biden. And obviously it's a huge news story that we all really invested in. So I wanted to take this opportunity to just acknowledge that no, none of us really care. I mean, it is technically a big deal, I guess, and that it is the president's son getting convicted of doing crack and then falsifying records to get a gun, which is wild. But he was guilty, and he got convicted of it. So excellent, well done.
Yeah, the system works. I don't care about Hunter Biden. Like, this is like the breaking news to everybody. I don't care about the president's fail son. I didn't care about Chelsea Clinton. I didn't care about Sasha Malia Obama. I don't care about the fact that, like, apparently one of them smokes weed now. I just don't care.
Dude, I don't care about any of those people's parents either. I don't care about either of the Clintons, Hillary or Bill. Bill got accused of a thing, and there was like an inquiry. It turned out that he was found to be guilty of that thing, and it kind of like, that was sort of like it for him. Everybody thought that he was guilty. It got proven, and it was a real blemish on him for a while there. Cool. If you have the evidence, if you have the face carving video, same thing for Hillary. Let's get her. Fuck it. Like, I'm not pro face carving. Like, if you got the video, put it out there. Let's fucking get her. Let's fucking lock her up. It's just crazy. I'll say that thing that Donald Trump never said. Lock her up if she's guilty. We need to lock her up.
That thing he absolutely never said.
He never said lock her up. His my fans said lock her up, but I never said that. I've never on record having said that literally dozens of times. Okay. Speaking of former president of the United States, Donald Trump, great president, incredible president. He was part of a twofer this week, what I'm calling Dementia Daddy Shark Week, because two roads diverged in a snowy wood, and no matter what path we take, we get to an old buffoon, one former president and potential future president, and one current president and potential future president. So, Mike and/or Haley, pick one. Who do we want to talk about first?
I was going to just talk about Trump. So I'm.
Oh, you're out of your mind, you liberal cuck. There's no way we're avoiding talking about Sleepy Joe Biden on this. I mean, he was looking crazy this week. It's Don't get me wrong. I think the Trump shark rant is better and juicier, but there's no. Okay, let's talk about Trump first.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot about Biden sitting in the chair. I totally forgot about that.
Dude, sitting, standing, moving. That guy is turning into a were-grandpa by the day. Like, it's crazy. His decline into grandpahood is getting buck wild at this point. It is insane. And we'll talk about that after we talk about Donald Trump's weird shark rant.
So. The best part about the weird shark rant is the fact that at the start of this whole thing, Trump blames his teleprompters for breaking, blames the people who set up his teleprompters for failing him, and thusly making it so he cannot read his teleprompters.
And making it so that he has to go off the cuff, which we all know will decline into a rant about sharks. Because he's got a proven track record of this happening, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, the man is terrified of sharks. The man really has an issue with sharks, and
he hates them. And on top of that, he has been, I guess, workshopping this exact sort of comparison. I guess he did this at a couple of other stops of this thing, or a version of this. He's been working up to it. I saw somebody I can't remember who. Maybe it was The Daily Show or something. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so he has to riff because his teleprompters aren't working. And by the way, while Trump was running for president in 2016, all Republicans were like, Obama's an idiot. If you turn his teleprompter off, he can't talk. He'll just stand there and drool like a moron, which, not true, also racist, also kind of shitty. But anyways, so Trump's teleprompters go out, and at which point I decided to transcribe this because it's fucking so mental that you actually have to know the words. And he started talking. He said, "My relationship to MIT, very smart." He goes, "I say, what would happen if the boat sank from the weight, and you're in the boat, and you have this tremendously powerful battery, and the battery is now underwater, and there is a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. Lots of shark attacks. Notice that? A lot of sharks. I watched some guy justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that. that angry. They just bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He kind of got the word crazy wrong. He said that there's no problem with the sharks. They just don't really understand a young woman swimming now and really got decimated, and other people too. A lot of shark attacks. They said there is a shark 10 yards away from the boat here or there. Do I get electrocuted if the boat is sinking? Water goes over the top of the battery, the boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted, or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, nobody's ever asked me that question before. I think it is a very good question. I think there's a lot of electric current going through the water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'd take electrocution every time. I'm not getting near that shark. So we're going to end that. We're going to end that for boats. We're going to end that for trucks. Your next president.
Yeah, so what he's talking about is electric vehicles. Specifically, the high-capacity batteries that make them go. And in this particular instance, specifically about how people are trying to use that for boats and starting to move away from like diesel engines and stuff in boats. So what he's trying to communicate is that there is a potential danger if the boat sinks, that people caught in the boat when it sinks will get electrocuted as the battery becomes submerged by water, which I can't imagine is true. But that is what he's trying to say here. In the process of saying that, he gets distracted by himself. First of all, he has to, of course, give him credit for having the smartest and biggest brain of all time. So, of course, this anecdote takes place. He's asking a guy from MIT, or he's asking a guy who says that his question is very smart, and it has to be because of his relationship to MIT, which is just insane. What relationship to MIT? What do you want about me? Then he goes on a grandpa tangent related to his mortal enemy, sharks, who he's very afraid of. Stormy Daniels relayed that information to us. His Twitter told us that back when he was on Twitter, and his ranting on the campaign trail about sharks after above nothing is into that. So he's talking about that. Then sharks are in the news because there have been some shark attacks recently. So he starts talking about that. And then because of the shark attacks, there have been some protesters who are just like, hey, sharks aren't so bad. Like shark attacks are actually pretty rare. Like, let's not get crazy. So he starts talking about that. Then he remembers that he's supposed to be talking about the electric current thing. And then he remembers that for anybody to take him seriously about that, they have to remember that he's smart. So he loops back to the MIT thing one last time there at the end. Then he gets back to talking about the battery, and he wraps up with, so that's where I'm going to stop there at the end right there.
Yeah.
So, I understand what happened to him. I understand, what his train of thought was. If you just cut out the shark stuff, his argument is still incredibly stupid. But it makes Trump sense. The same way that, let's just use bleach to get rid of the coronavirus. Seems pretty good. Because if you cut out all the shark stuff, he's just like, hey, they've got these batteries. They're incredibly potent. The guy from MIT said this. I'm a genius, by the way. And if the boat sinks, there's a lot of current in the water, and I don't want to be electrocuted. But I would prefer to being killed by a shark if I had to choose. You can truncate the whole thing. You can get it in there in 10 seconds or whatever. Because that's all I really said. He's just like, by the way, I hate sharks, Yeah. Fucking absolute lunatic. So crazy. And the people there gobble it up. Can you imagine? Imagine if this was what he was saying in Arizona. You're standing around, it's 114 degrees outside. You're literally risking your life being there. And he's just like, these sharks. You're like, we're in a desert. We couldn't be farther away from a shark.
Yeah. It's like none of us here know what the ocean looks like. It is nothing but desert and misery and casinos. That's all we live in. And this guy is just going on a jag about sharks and how these evil liberals are trying to defend the sharks and justify the sharks mauling people. I
love how Trump always he's got a formula, and his formula is he starts his topic, then he works in a force multiplier, talking about he's just I'm sitting in a chair, great leather chair, or he's just or in this instance he's just so I had this question, I asked it to a guy, he said it was very smart. It must be because I'm from MIT. It was leave to the thing, get the force multiplier in there, make sure everyone is really fluffed for what your point is, and then rant about sharks for 2 minutes. Then eventually get your point.
God.
Incredible stuff. It was so funny watching and hearing about this.
Yeah. It's just really awesome that like we are now slightly more than 2 weeks away from the great debate between these two titans of brain power. It's like truly going to be incredible. And I think like last night Hannity floated that Trump's trying to figure out a way to get out of the debate, which the only way Hannity would talk about that is if Trump gave him a phone call and told him, hey, start working on excuses for me.
Fear of sharks.
Yes.
He's been seeing it the whole time.
Yes.
That'd be great. Speaking of our other presidential candidate and current president, Sleepy Joe Biden, like that guy looks hilarious on camera. I just gotta say it. Look, I know this is a liberal forward show, and like, don't get me wrong, like I don't hate Papa Joe as much as most people do, although he is an old man. And this week, him being on camera made him look real old. like watching a parade, looking just like up and slightly to the left, like a little bit of a slack jaw to him, looking like he's like fully 98, and that there's nobody home, or just like the chair incident. It's like when he's moving in a small space, he's like a Roomba. It does seem like he needs someone to direct him. Like I think he's just bad with stage direction. Like, it just seems like he's always just been really bad with cues and stage direction, because it doesn't seem like he's getting lost because he's so old and doesn't know where he's going. It just seems like he doesn't really remember where his marks are, which is a different kind of problem, because that's not that hard. Or in this instance, trying to sit down on a chair that's not there. It's pretty funny. Like, I do wish that our president projected a little more strength, so that it was a little. I would like to be more laughable when the opponents like ridicule him, but he was looking like a real pleasant but sleepy grandpa this whole like news cycle for the past 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, and the thing that makes me laugh about all of that is the fact that these people are like, oh, if only we had a better candidate. And it's just name this magical unicorn that would fall out of the sky that would be this candidate that would crush Trump easily and win a 50-state landslide. Because what'd you say? Yes, L would beat Trump. That would not be A. So look, yes. So when we have the brokered convention that Nate Silver and all these people want, when like Biden elects to not run and like we have to have a convention to pick the nominee, that's when we're all going to go to Chicago and we're going to get L on the stump, and boom, we're going to have L for president. Who would your vice president be, L? Because you're going to have to pick one at the convention after we nominate you.
Oh, man, this answer used to be so easy when it was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, before he lost a lot of his shine.
Yeah, yes.
Man, it would be my vice president. God, who's almost conservative enough to win people over? Maybe I should just use one of these like comedians that has like a persona to trick a bunch of people, but like allow them to like. How long was that kid that plays Sketch? What was that dude? I'm sure Trump fans love Sketch. If he's old enough, I'll make him my running man.
Can this be your like kind of mantra as a like this is what your fans do? They do the like loser L to the forehead. So when you
I think that's
and they have the MAGA hat and you just do this.
I think that's for the fans to decide, or for my marketing team to decide. I don't think the presidential candidate does that. Hell yeah, you can be my manager or whatever. My probably not the full campaign manager, but whatever that is, brand manager. You can be a brand manager. Hell yeah.
HellwQrld party.
We're reclaiming the L.
Yes.
We should also reclaim the Q while we're at it. Let's think of a way to reclaim Q and really piss those idiots off.
Ban it if you want.
I wonder if he's old enough. But there was a guy on Survivor recently who was called Q, and all of QAnon loved him because he had the name Q. So if that dude's like 35, he's absolutely L's vice presidential candidate. We literally have the L/Q like poster. That's just the ticket. Just
or I can get my name legally changed so that I have the middle initial Q.
Yes.
So we can just trick people with just being like, who you're like, vote for LQ. And they're just like, oh shit, we weren't that interested by the first letter, but the second letter got our dicks rock hard. and in weirdly small percentages, my vagina, whatever the equivalent of hard is for that. I'm assuming wet, which is gross to say, because I am not a woman. I don't know. It's like as a guy, I could say hard, turgid, engorged, throbbing, any of that stuff. Describe the veins, head, all that stuff. No big deal. Like just throw that out there as much as I want to. But because of the culture I was growing up in, like if I try to say the other stuff, I'm always just like, oh, is that too far? Is that like I don't know? Am I allowed to say that? My white guilt and my male guilt really an overdrive. I'm just so guilty. I need to start flogging myself like I was a Q supporter.
I think for months leading up to your campaign, we should do a mystery campaign that no information on the signs, but we'll put them everywhere, and they'll just say who is L, who is Q, and we'll put them all over the town. And I think people would be caught on.
Yeah, people would gravitate. They'd be like, "Man, we got to find out the mystery. Who is L? What's going on?"
Or it could just be like Q, like that, like a huge Q, like a little colon, like it's posing like a question. But the colon's very small for far away, and then below it says, "Who is mysterious L?" And then there's the location or like the QR code you got to scan or whatever. You gotta really sucker people in with that Q. You gotta let the crazy people hope and dream. You put dude like use Photoshop to have it on like a stormy background.
When I was a teenager, there was actually a guy who ran as an independent for like a state seat. And I think his name was like Doug Quayland or something like that. He owned a couple of business lots here, and it was just like Q was like the logo for it because his last name. And then when he would run for office, it was just a big Q. Because I have one of his old stickers because he came to my house when I was a kid. And I wonder how that campaign would go now.
He'd be a lot more popular. He'd have a lot more fans. They would have no fucking idea what was going on, but they'd be there for him. Oh, man.
You know what would be great? Like running on a platform, like I pivot, I go hard, Q, I say all the right things, they get those people to love me real good, they get me into office, or anybody for that matter, it doesn't have to be me. But as soon as they're in office, they're just like, joke's on you losers, you're all chumps, I tricked you, I hoodwinked you, I'm going to vote for everything you hate, like, you were right. Like, we're in control, get fuck losers. Just really rile them up, just like drop the mic on him and just be like, dude, if this is going to stir up enough for them to be relevant, then nothing will. Like,
he hasn't posted since 2012, but he still did the Q thing. Look, my name is Doug Q Quelland, and it's just a Q in his Twitter photo. I just linked it in chat. That's so funny.
My name is Q. Like, it's pronounced Kukukua.
QQ Kachu. That's our boy.
Okie dokie. I think that's probably about it for talking about our sad old presidential candidates. So let's get into our succulent listener mailbag.
Our listeners got questions. We got answers. It's time for Q&A.
Leach from Buffalo asks, if you had to fill out the juror form for a theoretical trial of a former president, what would you list as part of your media diet? This is a reference to the guy that said he was on Truth Social, but also listened to Mueller, she wrote, and all kinds of other weird, eclectic political stuff, and thusly got on the jury, and then had all of the right wing going, oh, we got the Truth Social juror, totally going to get a mistrial. And then that guy was like, Trump is guilty. Fuck that guy. So, way to go, that juror.
I mean, I guess if I was being truthful, I'd have to just be like, the only thing I really talk about or listen to politically wise with any consistency is Mike Raines, aka Poker Politics on the internet. And then I guess they would look at your shit and make of that what they would. I'm assuming I would not get to be part of Trump's jury, considering I'm on a podcast talking about how he sucks every week.
It would probably be bad.
But yeah, I don't really consume that much. I mean, Internet Today. That was the people I think were covering the shark rant, and it was the Daily Shows. Yeah, I watch Internet Today on YouTube every now and again. I like the Jon Stewart Daily Show pieces, so I'll watch that. Every once in a while, I'll watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I'm so basic. I don't watch cable. I read AP and HuffPo, so I guess just by dint of reading HuffPo, I'm probably too liberal to be on any jury for any high-profile conservative case. But I do try to get my AP in there as well, just to get the more measured response.
Yeah. What about you, Haley?
I feel like I would be like that juror who tricked the world with the Truth Social answer. Because I do have a very funny diet of just I listen to random YouTube guys and podcasts, and then I'm on Gab and Telegram and, True Social. And, but yeah, the internet would be my response. The internet.
Yeah. That would be kind of what I would have to do is I'd be like, oh yeah, I follow Right Side Media and Newsmax and blah, blah, blah. And people are like, what do you mean by follow them? I mean, like, oh, I just see the crazy shit they're saying about Trump. And they're like, you're dismissed. I'm like, fuck, God damn it. Son of a bitch. I
watch hours of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Huge fan of Turning Point USA. Let me tell you, big fan of Turning Point USA.
I just list all the Turning Point shows. I'm like, the Charlie Kirk show for 3 straight hours. Then I hit 2 hours of Thought Crime with Charlie Kirk. And then I move over to the women's segment for an hour of Spillover with Alex Clark. That's my
You're on. And you're like, yes, Trump totes guilty. Got him.
Does it count as a media diet if you're part of a comedy political podcast? Like, is that like throwing up part of your diet?
Yes. Yeah.
It's just like, well, we do talk about how trans people have rights a lot. And they're just like, you're dismissed. Sorry.
Yep. Oh, man. You bringing up Charlie Kirk and all this shit reminded me of the fucking fake mistrial juror bullshit that got the right-wing pantaloons all hot and bothered, which is going to go nowhere and is nothing. So, yeah, there you go. I covered it for the 10 seconds it deserved, you idiots. That was like the dumbest shit ever. Oh, shit, they caught a juror. They're totally rigged. No, they weren't. Settle down. Calm down, buddy. Calm down. Space Cats asks, why can QAnon and some MAGA not accept the Hunter Biden verdict as a win? I think a lot of it is just the fact that they want the world to be rigged against them. And the fact that Hunter Biden got convicted means that like the bad guys can lose too.
Yeah, it's a martyr complex. Like yes. they don't feel anything if it's not like if it's not the whip at their back, like they need it. They need to feel persecuted for them to get any sort of high.
Pretty much. I mean, and also they know that Hunter isn't going to go to jail for forever. This isn't big boy crimes. So, and it's a fucking gun charge. They should be outraged. They should be like, what the fuck? Why can't someone doing all kinds of crack not get a gun? Second Amendment, America. I mean, like, this should literally be something that they should be outraged. That Hunter
also,
Biden...
it doesn't help that liberals don't care, which we don't.
Right. Yeah.
So there we go.
It's so silly. It's so silly. And finally in the mailbag from Me Bad is, in a tournament-style showdown, what cryptid would defeat them all? Xenu is hosting the event.
Oh, my God. Wow, what a question. This is right in my wheelhouse, but I haven't really thought of cryptid power scaling in like a hot minute. And I know some of the ones from outside of my country are like pretty intense in terms of power level.
Like the Baba Yaga and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, but like Baba Yaga is more of like a folktale than like a cryptid, So it depends on where you draw the line on that as well.
But he's weak.
Yeah, Chupacabra is so weak. He's just popular because he's like local to us. Same thing with like Mothman is getting like so. It's not really related to the question, but my friends and I were musing about how Mothman's the new Cthulhu. Like Cthulhu had a side of the sub where you could get like plushies and blankets and tote bags and stuff with Cthulhu on it, and everybody was like, "Ha ha ha, Cthulhu." Well, now that's Mothman. Like Mothman is getting his time in the sun. Everybody's making Mothman merch now. I think TikTok has something to do with it. TikTok is spreading the love of Mothman. But like power wise, I mean, I don't really think he's that intense,
Yeah. What you said always like that makes me laugh when I think about the fact that there's an actual basketball team named the Toronto Raptors. So like Raptors just did that mega push after Jurassic Park. Like we don't have a professional sports team anywhere named after Tyrannosaurus Rexes, but the Raptor like suddenly like got a major sports franchise named after it. It's like, oh my God, way to go that movie for making that dinosaur like very popular.
I think out of the ones people talk about pretty frequently, I think skinwalkers probably have the highest like ceiling on terms of like what their powers should be capable of. But that's just because a lot of the North American cryptids are pretty boring. Like Mothman is probably up there in terms of like, being interesting. But like Bigfoot, it's like you're just a big hairy and maybe like elusive guy.
The Jersey Devil can fly. That's scary.
I guess, but so can Mothman. It's like, what else you got for me? Like, and then like all the plesiosaurs or whatever, like your champs, and it's just like, well, what if the fight is not taking place literally in the lake? You know, like I feel like that's sort of at least when you're doing this with like Aquaman, he can get out of the water to fight, but like not so much with Champ. Like, you know, if Champ was coming on, actually, I think there's I can't remember if it's in Alaska or what. It's like a avalanche cliff fish or something. It is this crazy thing I had never heard of before that maybe I got hoodwinked, but I watched a video or something that was talking about them. It's like a landslide related cryptid where it's apparently like it's massive. It's like the size of a football field. It like hangs out on the side of a hill. And then when prey gets below it, it just sort of like scuttles down the hill real fast at them. And it looks like a landslide that it just gets them. I can't remember what the thing was called, but it was just like very entertaining. And if that thing, I mean, just size alone, how are you going to beat that?
Okay, I'm in. I'm in on the Alaskan landslide cryptid. That sounds like a winner to me.
My pick is Mongolian deathworm because it could get into the ear of any of the other cryptids and kill it.
It also depends. So Mongolian deathworm is a great pick, but there's like a lot of different. Like I don't know enough about the base source material because a lot of like pop culture stuff is messed with the deathworm. But in some cases, it's like I think of the Weird West, aka Deathlands. Like the Mongolian deathworm is like gigantic or whatever. Like there's like a supplement where it's like huge. It's like a graboid, and it's got like acid blood that it can spit at you or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah. I mean, if it's like the size of a dragon and it blows up violently into like an acidic explosion and stuff like that, then yeah, that's probably going to win most fights. But
I'm team worm either way. I think if it's big or small, I'm going to pick the worm.
Worm is pretty cool, but yeah, I mean, I guess the Mongolian deathworm is a good pick. I respect that.
God, the cryptids are where it's at.
Good question, Shatter.
Yes, thank you.
But it's like, is a banshee a cryptid again, or is it folklore? You know, like because it became folklore because people claimed it existed out there. So because a scream that makes you die instantaneously is a pretty good power in a tournament. You know.
Yes.
And your next opponent, a thing that can hear you. Oh, don't worry, I got this. You're dead. And it's intangible. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah. That's the question. Do the monsters in A Quiet Place die to the Banshee when they fight each other?
Oh, they hate regular noise. I mean, they would be fucking incredibly bothered by the Banshee.
And that brings us to our final question as always. What are you guys looking forward to?
I am going to probably do some Magic the Gathering playing today because the new Modern Horizon set is available on their digital platform, which I still have enough currency to play for free on. So I'll probably be doing that this afternoon. It'll be pretty fun. And I might take a nap because I'm feeling like a lazy, tired boy.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to, Haley?
My day's been all fucking weird. Already. So once I'm done with a meeting after this podcast, I am also taking up L on the nap idea.
Nice. Maybe we'll meet on the dreamscape.
I'm gonna be early.
I am also going to jump on the sleep train here because it may be waiting on my steps right now, or it may be arriving shortly. But I am getting a new CPAP mask and a tube, so my CPAP mask will be form-fitting and snug, and I'll be able to sleep better starting this evening, and I'll be grateful for it. So for those of you thinking I was going to go Celtics, you were wrong. I tricked you, and also the Celtics made me too nervous. So I'm not looking forward to it. Just please win. Please win, you stupid basketball players that are from my home city.
Yeah, fuck you, basketball players. We've always said that. We hate your guts. Especially you, Caitlin Clark. You're the worst.
Yes.
No, just kidding. That's very stupid. The people who think that are dumb. Thank you so much for listening to the show this week. It's time for us to fuck off so we can all sleep like the dream warriors we are. So we're gonna dream our way out of HellwQrld for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you want to support the show for free but harder, you can do so by giving us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast from. If you have money and you want to give it to us, we will take it. You can visit patreon.com/pokerpolitics. Your donation of $5 or more per month gets you access to all of our bonus content, past, present, and future. There's a bunch of it on there, including all the stuff we've recorded with Sarge and all the stuff that we've been recording recently, mostly Mike and Haley. But there's new and old stuff available there for you. Thank you so much to all of the beautiful babies who are already hanging out in the crib. We love you. If you have money and you don't want to give it to some dickheads that you listen to online for free, you're just like, hey, being free is the whole point. We totally get it. But if you want to do some good with some money, you can donate to love146.org, an organization whose vision is the end of child trafficking and exploitation. Thanks as always to DJ Minimal Effort for our original theme song that was accidentally remixed by Mike Rains into what you heard at the top of the show. Thanks to our buddy Frosty, who does all of our voiceover work when we need it. You can find Frosty on Blue Sky at FrostyBO. You can find the show itself that you're listening to right now. Yes, The Adventures of HellwQrld, or in HellwQrld, and also of HellwQrld, I suppose, at HellwQrld. On various social media. That's HellwQrld with a Q instead of an O. I buckled and returned to Twitter, embarrassingly, with my tail between my legs, at HellwQrld Fatty, spelled the same way as HellwQrld the show. Of course, Haley, our Arizona correspondent, you can find on various social media at Arizona Right Watch. And Mike Rains, our expert in all things QAnon crazy, can be found on various social media at Poker Politics. So, for another successful episode of the Adventures of HellwQrld podcast, I have been one of your hosts, Mysterious L, joined as always by Haley, aka Arizona Right Watch, and our expert in all things QAnon crazy, Mr. Mike Rains. Good speed, Patriots!